From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode, a giant innovation conference is coming to our area. We always have our eyes on the headlines to pass along to you this week in business. And we speak to financial professional Alexander Joyce in our accounting and bookkeeping segment.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
It is time on Business, Equity, and Opportunities to talk about accessing capital. Organizers bill Rally as the largest cross-sector innovation conference. It's coming to Indianapolis August 29th through the 31st. The goal basically to bring people from different areas and industries together for what the conference calls creative collision.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to capital.
Christopher Day is the CEO of Elevate Ventures, connecting entrepreneurs with people who know Indiana's business landscape and maximizing opportunities.
So we are so excited about Rally. We are building the world's largest cross-sector innovation conference. It just so happens it's going to be right here in Indiana, in Indianapolis. After all, Indianapolis is ranked as the number one best place in America to host an event. And so we thought, what better place to launch that than right here in Indiana. So already in year one, we're expecting about 5,000 people. There's going to be up to a $5 million pitch competition across 5 sectors. Software, healthcare, hard tech, ag and food, and sports tech. There's a 6th track that's a catch-all for things we can't get to in year one called entrepreneurship. On the pitch competition, we received 443 pitch applications from 38 countries. Just insane. And so those finalists were announced in mid-July. So there'll be 25 finalists all competing there'll be one prize for each sector, each of those 5 sectors. And then confetti will fall. They're going to get a big trophy, and they can celebrate on social media that they're the winner, of that sector pitch competition. If they want the up to the $1 million prize per sector, then we'll help syndicate. We're going to do due diligence, come to terms with that company, and then we'll help syndicate the other dollars. Or if the company already has some investors lined up, then we'll use that for matching funds. So that's super exciting. It's one of the world's largest pitch competitions. And then we have an incredible lineup of keynotes and featured speakers. So just a few of those I'll mention. So Peyton Manning, Mung Chang at Purdue University, Magic Johnson, Guy Raz, Crystal Washington is a futurist. She's absolutely amazing. Victoria Arlen has a story of perseverance that is going to have I think she's going to have the entire audience in tears, including me. Victor Huang, who's the CEO of Right to Start. So just an incredible lineup of keynotes and featured speakers. We have over 200 speakers in total. We have 50 content sessions across those 6 sectors. There's also going to be an opportunity to self-guide or hand curate your own experience. We have a partnership with a company called Brain Date, and so people can opt into that and set up their own one-on-one meetings throughout the conference. We also have nearly 1,400 investor and company one-on-one meetups that are going to be happening in 2.5 days. It's absolutely insane. We have some partners that are coming in this first year that we're really excited about. Rally was built to be an open tent, big tent, everybody's welcome. And so it's almost like a conference within conferences. We have the Indiana Women in Tech. They're holding their annual summit there. Indiana Technology and Innovation Association is holding their annual summit there. Generator has relocated their ag conference from Illinois over to Rally. They're going to launch it the day before Rally, and then it bleeds into the Rally conference. We also have Midwest House, who has a big presence down at South by Southwest. They're launching a house at Rally. So it's going to be just an amazing event. And the whole spirit, the whole purpose of Rally is there's a concept called a productivity boom that's in full swing today. Global economists talk about this. And it's basically the disruption of data and technology on cross-sector industries is just happening more and more rapidly every day that goes by. And they believe that the epicenter of this productivity boom is going to occur in the middle core of the United States. And if all that's true, which we believe it is, then why not have the world's largest cross-sector innovation conference right here in Indianapolis? Cross-sector, disparate stakeholder, all converging in one place at the same time. That's how we enable creative collisions. And most companies, most leaders that I talk to, departmental leaders or CEOs of organizations, of companies, et cetera, always talk about they learn more when they interact with people outside of their own swim lane. And if you think about it, when companies start today, if you're starting a software, a hard tech, a healthcare company, almost every company that starts today involves domain expertise from cross-sector required to bring any given thing to market. And that's what Rally is all about, bringing all of those people and ideas together in one place at one time to create magic. If you're getting ready to start a business, if you've already started a business looking to raise capital, if you're a growth business looking to raise larger capital, if you're looking for partners, if you're looking for customers, if you want to interact with legislators, if you want to interact with philanthropic leaders, it's all of these people that make innovation happen. And when you think about it, it takes public policy, right? You have to have public policy that lays the foundation, right? You have philanthropic leaders lean into how can they help talent acquisition, talent retention, right? How can they help innovation happen? You have investors, VCs, angels, all of these types of folks, all converging. It's very, if you think about what it takes time-wise to try to connect with all those different stakeholders, it takes weeks, months, et cetera, and we're just going to converge it all in one place at one time over the course of 3 days. Our goal is that 10 years from now, we want Rally to be 100,000, 200,000 innovators and attendees. Already in year one, we're going to be pushing 5,000, and with the at least half of those are going to be from across the nation and indeed across the globe. People acting out their passion, like achieving whatever that dream is. You just gave me chills again. Like there's just nothing better than seeing people win, right? We all have our fears, our doubts, our struggles, and people work so hard to do whatever it is that they're doing. And gosh, you almost just brought a tear to my eye. And like it is such a great feeling to be a tiny part of helping to make something big happen. It's a blast. I love it.
We always have our eyes on the headlines to pass along to you this week in business.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
This week, we're talking tech jobs. A new TechPoint report released this week details progress made in Mission41K. That's Indiana's effort to inclusively grow the state's tech workforce by 41,000 people by 2030. The report shows the Indiana tech workforce has grown by more than 5.6% so far in 2023. Dennis Trickle is the Senior Vice President of Talent, Strategy, and Partnerships for TechPoint.
Indiana has a talent problem. We don't have nearly as many people for the high-skilled tech and tech-related jobs that are out there. And so TechPoint set a goal of increasing the tech workforce by 41,000 by 2030, which is kind of a minimum number that we need to be able to fill current need and help grow new businesses, launch new products, launch new services. It's really our progressive goal to help Indiana be an innovative, top tech state in the nation. I will say, when we launched Mission41K a year ago, I thought we would make a little bit of progress, but I did not expect us to see the progress that we've made. Indiana has consistently grown by about 2 or 3% a year for the last 30 years, consistently been a top 15 or top 16 tech state in the nation, which is good. And with Mission41K, we said we want to double that. We want to try to grow at least 4% a year. And everybody coming together, working lots of points of collaboration. We actually grew by 5.6% last year, year over year, net new tech job growth, which was the most in the last 30 years. So part of Mission41K is specific goals around making sure that tech is represented and that we are being inclusive in the tech community. That's not been the case nationally. It hasn't been the case in Indiana, and we really can't reach our talent goals unless we bring in all Hoosiers and create passive opportunity for them. So our goal is to make sure that women, people of color, other historically underrepresented groups are invited into tech, and there are pathways there. And we want to go from 28 to 48%, for example, with women. We want to go from 6% to 10% with Black and African American Hoosiers. And across the board, we went up by 1%. It's not a great take your breath away number, but the growth's been stagnant. We haven't been seeing progress, and this year we did. So I think it's a sign that when we work together, we can build a more inclusive and welcoming tech community, and we can get to 41,000 by 2030. We need to not only retain great Hoosier talent that we have here, but attract folks in from other places. And these days, especially with younger employees, current generation employees, they're looking for cultures that are attractive. Place and culture are as important to them as salary and benefits. And so Indiana really needs to make sure that we are creating great job, but also great company cultures, that those companies are becoming wonderful, inviting, welcoming places where folks can come in and give of their best selves. And when we can do that, then we're going to attract a lot more folks. Indiana has a great value proposition. We consistently make the list of the most affordable places to live, the best places to start a business. So we put that together with businesses that can create opportunity and that have these strong, inviting cultures. And I think Indiana can win the talent war. I think that we can't be complacent and say, okay, we figured it out and it's naturally going to happen. I mentioned that the progress we saw in the first year was really kind of surprising. I think our biggest challenge will be to sustain the efforts and to make sure that we don't treat it as just a sprint, but that we realize that what we're talking about takes consistent day over day, month over month, year over year activity. So what year two is going to be about is continuing to keep everybody focused on the goal, continuing to say that, you know what, maybe 41,000 wasn't bold enough. When we set Mission 41K as the goal, that was before ChatGPT and AI came onto the scene, and now the projections are there are going to be more technologies than ever before, and even more jobs are going to require technical proficiency and technical skills. So I think what we're going to see is probably 41,000 is not going to be enough. We're going to keep it as a goal for now, but we've got to do even better. And so that means the collaborations that have started in year one, we have to make those broader and deeper. We've got to make sure that we've got that ironclad focus on drawing more Hoosiers into the tech workforce and more people into Indiana, and just keeping our pedal down. Yeah, so I think it's really early. I would compare it to the beginning of the internet, and I think lots of things are possible, and things can move quickly now. But just as with the internet, the pace of change is driven by people. And so we have got all this potential now in Indiana, but we'll only be able to lean into it as we can bring people along, as we can help people develop the skills to take advantage of the technology. And that's about filling new roles, but it's also about being able to do the jobs they're doing now differently and to migrate into other related jobs in their organization, right? So I think lots of folks are worrying about, are we going to see tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs eliminated? And I think we will over time. I think we'll see them reshaped, but it's not going to happen in the blink of an eye. It's going to happen at the pace that we can bring people along and help them acquire those skills so the businesses can lean in and adopt the technologies. The technologies don't adopt themselves, so it's all going to come down to how well we do, really with Mission 41K. How well do we do with helping folks acquire these skills and applying them in businesses and organizations? Partnership is part of the equation, but I think it is also some of the most important work comes back to businesses. And businesses have felt a lot of economic pressures over the last decade or two. And as a consequence of that, with things like having to focus on healthcare and benefits in their organizations, a lot of the capacity the organizations used to have to develop people, to work on talent and leadership and those internally bringing people along, that's no longer well-funded. Organizations don't have that capacity. So I think we have to develop mechanisms that support enterprises and getting back to talent development. It is the case right now that most businesses get their talent through talent attraction from colleges and universities, from taking talent from each other, and that's just not going to be good enough anymore. They have to get back to developing talent, and we've spent 20 years in a culture where we've done less and less and less of that. Now we're going to have to get back to a focus where we do more and more and more of that every year. So I think the biggest thing that the community can do is small, medium, and large-size organizations have to start to work with partners like TechPoint and other partners around the community to understand how they can do that. How can they rebuild that capacity? What resources can they take advantage of to be able to bring in entry-level talent and advance it and take people who are already great people who are part of their culture and get them ready for those next-level jobs, many of which will be reshaped by AI. Year one for Mission 41K, all the indicators are really positive. To me, the message is we've got the talent, we have the focus in Indiana, and if we work together, we can make this happen. Now we just have to keep our eye on the goal and get to 41,000 by 2030.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower.
Also this week in business, our boss spent some time with the leader of the free world. Dewan McCoy, owner, president, CEO of Circle City Broadcasting, is also a board member for the U.S. Black Chambers. He met with President Biden and other senior officials as part of a delegation from the USBC in an effort to expand economic access and opportunities. While there, the team met with several administration officials, including Pete Buttigieg, the former South Bend mayor who's now the transportation secretary. Time now for our weekly tips on accounting and bookkeeping. This week, we hear from financial professional Alexander Joyce, president and CEO of ReJoyce Financial, a retirement planning firm based in Carmel, Indiana.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Starting a business is it's emotional because naturally it's what you're excited about and what you want to do, but a lot of people don't really understand how to do it, right? They don't really, nobody comes out the gates with an operating agreement in the structure of an LLC or an S Corp or even which one they should get. Most people don't even really seek advice until they really are, confirm with themselves on if they feel comfortable actually launching that business. And I think that once they do, and they take that leap of faith, either that leap of faith being leaving their normal day-to-day trading time for dollars, W-2 employment, if you would, they have to think about themselves and how they're going to feed their family. And so some people, they kind of wing out, right? They take it real nice and slow, and maybe sometimes that's a 18-month process, sometimes that's a 3-year process, and sometimes it's a lifetime until you get to retirement. And they say, you know what, I really enjoy doing something I'm passionate about, whether that's charity or whether that's makeup or hair, right? And I think that the first thing I would encourage small business owners, as tenacious as they may be, is to kind of step back and make sure we understand the foundation of what you're trying to do. You would want to see where you're at today, not really financially, but maybe fast forward into a little bit of the future for, short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. I would always say, seek professional advice in terms of the business structure, because taxes, whether you know it or not, if you're buying things from a wholesaler, if you're buying things from Amazon, if you will, they're going to 1099 you, right? Because they're going to collect their spread, if you would, because you're selling things at a retail level. And so taxes, eventually are going to catch up. And so we want to make sure that we sleeve things out in order to pay that tax bill. Good software, I think, like QuickBooks or an Intuit software, I think will help you or give you good guidance. It isn't advice. It is a tool, if you will, to perhaps maybe organize things. I think being an organizer as you possibly can, and some people, like in sales, if you will, they're not the most organized people, tenacious, gunslingers, if you will. But I think it's good to have a circle of influence, understanding the tax side, whether that's a good accountant, if you will. Sometimes partnerships, sometimes more, organized, if you would. One person is far more logical, and then the other one is far more, again, tenacious. And so I think that when you are honest with yourself and you understand the foundation and you understand your operating agreement next to good software and good advice, I think that will is a recipe for promised success, if you would. Yeah, being an employee of the business, whether you're a sole proprietor or you are wanting to build a small to mid-sized organization, I think that it is very common that you pay yourself last because you're trying to build, you're pouring money into it. And I think that I've been there, right? I've owned my practice now 12 years, and so I've climbed that, and I've scaled back, and I've scaled up. I've been much larger, and I've been much smaller. And so learning that the hard way. And I think that once you kind of get your arms around the structure of your business, and you maybe put yourself on a small payroll. It doesn't have to be gigantic, and some people put themselves on a gigantic payroll. But when you look at your spreadsheet and you look at your P&L, your profit and loss, you can kind of get a good gauge of not really what your time is worth, because everybody's time is worth a lot, right? But what it takes to actually pay yourself, be comfortable, if you will, see the growth pattern of your business and your product, if you will, your revenue, your gross revenue, not your net. See what the bottom line looks like, and then you can make, prudent decisions based off of, what is my value. And then once we start understanding the value that you add to the business, maybe you start looking at long term, if you would, what happens if I wanted to step away? Is this business healthy enough for my departure? Is this something that is tangible? Is it something that leaves with me? Am I a sole proprietor to the point where I'm just kind of having fun with this? Is this a hobby, if you would, as opposed to a business? And I think that once you make those decisions, and I'm coming from the heart here because I had to do the same thing as an entrepreneur, and I think once you make those tough decisions, I think with perhaps other people on your team, it could be a spouse. That's far more logical, if you would. But making these decisions on your own is dangerous.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunities show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.